Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. It is good to be back in the shop and I love hanging out with you guys. It has been a busy month. Yeah, a month I think. I've had my three sons over here with my granddaughters from Owen, Alaska, from Gig Harbor, and all the way from Tennessee. And it has just been a riot hanging with them. And I miss them already, but we got to get back to work. I got to get this tire shredder done. So let me show you what I've been working on in between visits. And we started off with the brakes the last time, and I'm still working on the brakes. Let me show you what I decided on since we've been gone. If you remember right, I was going to do flexible line from these wheel cylinders to up to the frame, and then I was going to go across this cross member to the other side. But you know what? When I was doing that, it just didn't look right. You know, I worked this jack up and down to check out the suspension trowel, and I didn't like the way it was binding, so I decided to do it the way the manufacturers do it. And what they do is they go down the differential and put one flexible line between the differential and the frame. So that's what I decided to do. Now when I first started to do it, I made this bracket here, and the idea was, come on over here, show them what I'm doing over here, babe. So the idea was that this was going to fit over that, and then the T would go here, and then I would go from the wheel cylinder up to this, and then this would go to the frame, but it was kind of in the way of this panhard bar. And again, it was a neat idea, but no matter where I put it, it just didn't. I just didn't like it. It didn't work out right. So I went with version 2.0, and that's this. So I welded a tab onto the axle housing, okay? And I put the T there. So I'm gonna have a line that's gonna go from this wheel cylinder over to here. And then this side is gonna go down, and this is just temporary so that I could figure stuff out. But it'll go up and over the differential and over to the other side. And I put this in this location here. So let me show you. There's a lot of thought that goes into this. So if this is the coilover, this kind of hides this this bump part here. And the reason that's important is I want to have room for my exhaust to come over the axle over here. And so I wanted the line down so my exhaust could come down and probably out the fender, I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't decided that yet. But so that's why I did that. And then I had to come up with a way of securing the brake line to the axle housing. And so I made these little guys here. And it's really nothing special. It's just a piece of square tubing that I cut off. And then I put these little brake clamps on here and threaded and tapped them. And the reason that I did this was I couldn't really drill into this and tap it. And because this is round, I couldn't just put a flat piece on it. So by doing it this way, it can straddle the tubing, and I can just, weld it on the top and the bottom, and it'll be good to go. So that's my idea. I think I only need one here and one over on this side. And I don't really think I need one on top, but I'll see. I made 3 of them, so if I need to have 3, I'll have 3. But I think what I'm going to do is, and I also am going to just do like, this is a 45, and then I'm going to come over here a little more and just go 45 up, straight across, 45 down, and all the way over to the other side. I think it's going to look really nice. And then let me show you on the other side here how this looks on the frame. So this is the flexible line here, and it comes over here to a tab that I just threaded onto the frame here. And then just for testing purposes only, I've got a little short piece of brake line here. And just to give you a visual, I'm going to bend this down along the frame and then bend it up and go through this hole here, and then it'll go on its way to the front. And that's why I put these holes in here for the brake line, and I also put them in for electrical wiring, stuff like that. So now if you decide to do this on your rig, one of the things that I figured out was the truck is at ride height right now, and you have to build in some slack in this so that when you raise it up, you know, and go all the way up to the bump stop, it gives you plenty of room. And then when you go down to the full extension of the coilover, you don't want this thing to be tight. You want it to have some slack in it. So that's why it has that little bow in it. It allows the tubing the brake line to flex and not get stressed out. So that's how I did that. I think it looks pretty cool. There is going to be some gymnastics with brake bending, brake tubing bending. When I was doing some practicing, as you can see here, it's pretty cool what you can do with a bender, but I got some learning to do because this is hard. I mean, it's not physically hard, it's just mentally hard. And I bent a piece, and I'll show you what I did up front, and then I bent it the wrong way, and so then I wanted to redo it and bend it the opposite way, and ended up, as you can see here, bending it the same way again. And so the long story short about all this is I had to buy more stainless steel brake tubing because this mistake here is like 4 feet. I don't know, but I'm learning. And I'll share with you what I've been learning when I get to doing the bending and stuff. So anyway, buy extra. It wasn't that expensive. I think it was, I don't know, 40 bucks or something. Not bad. And then I got this straightener here. I just run it through and it makes it nice and straight. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the truck down. And when I come back, I'm going to show you what I did up front. All right. We'll see you in a minute. All right, before we go to the front, let me give you an aerial view of this because maybe it was kind of hard to see from down below, but it'll look pretty good. And this line doesn't hit the panhard bar at full compression, and everything just lines up really nice. So I'm excited about it. Let's go up front. I got to show you what I figured out up there. So let's go. Oh, I gotta get this. I'll show you. Okay, guys, my last video, if you remember, I asked you about the proportioning valve. Should I mount it down on the frame? Should I mount it up on the master cylinder? And you guys responded with some just awesome comments. Thank you. I decided to take your advice, and I mounted it on the master cylinder. And so what I did was, I took a piece of cardboard. Let me show you, because I'm big on cardboard. So I took a piece of cardboard, played around with it to find something that looked visually pleasing to me. And then I transferred it to a piece of 16 gauge steel. I think hope you can see that. That was just some steel I had left over when I patched the floor pans. So it worked out great. Don't like to waste anything. And this little piece of bending gymnastics here is what took 4 feet of tubing to finally figure out. But I think I'm getting it. And one of the things that I learned doing this was this particular master cylinder, both of these reservoirs are the same size. And because of that, it doesn't matter which one goes to the back. Typically, the largest reservoir is for the front for your disc brakes. But because these are both the same, I was able to use the front one for my rear brakes and the back one for my front brakes. And because of the way this proportioning valve is set up, it would have been really hard to come out of here and go in here. I would have had to move the valve, way over. And I kind of like it nice and tidy right up next to the master cylinder. So usually the large one is at the back. Well, no, I guess it's at the front. It just depends, Every car manufacturer does a little different. But the big one is for the front. The little one is for drum brakes. So I hope I made that clear. And oh, I know what I want to show you. When I got this proportioning valve, it came with these little adapters. Okay, this is I think 1/8 pipe, and then this is for using a regular flare fitting. But I'm using AN fittings, so I bought these AN adapters that have 1/8 pipe, so it threads into the proportioning valve, and then this just threads onto it with the AN fitting. Okay, well, what I found out was, you see this like red stuff on there? It's some type of a sealing compound, I guess. And so it got me to thinking, and I did some research, and I wanted to share with you this item right here. It's made by Permatex, and it's pneumatic hydraulic sealant, okay? And that's what I put on the threads here before I tighten these on, because I don't want any leaks. And you don't want to use Teflon tape, and you don't want to use any of the other like pipe sealant. You want to use pneumatic hydraulic sealant, okay? I didn't even know there was such a thing. But the internet's amazing. You can find out all kinds of stuff on the internet. So, but I want to share that with you because I didn't know it, and maybe that'll help you guys on your project. So anyway, I appreciate your comments because you convinced me that this is the right place, and I really think it is. I'm going to come out of here, come down, and go down the firewall to the back. And then this one here, I think, is just going to come over here and follow them both down. And this is going to go to the front. And then it's going to jump across that front cross member and go over to the other side. So, and I think if I take the radiator out and these inner fenders out, I should have enough room to plumb all those brakes in, and make it look good. I originally thought about putting it under the cross member, but there's just too much stuff in the way. The rack and pinion steering's in the way on the front side, and the sway bar's in the way on the back side. And it just is a lot simpler just to go forward. That cross member is just wide open, and it's going to be a lot easier for me to do. You can see the cross member down here, right under the radiator. And so that'll be just like super nice, straight shot over to the other side. And here's where the, I don't know if you can see these. I think it's right here. Let me see. Oh yeah, here it is. The brake line's going to come out right here. So there's be a T here, and one will go up to the master cylinder, and then the other one will go to the other side. So it's going to be pretty cool. And once I get the brake lines in and done, I'm going to plumb in the fuel system, and I'm going to plumb in the transmission cooler lines, and then I'm going to do the exhaust. So it's going to be fun. And my basic plan is I'm going to put this thing all together, make sure I get all the holes drilled in the frame where I want them, get the lines run, and try and get everything that has to do with the frame done, all the cuts and welds and all that. And then I'm going to get the electrical harness out. I'm just going to temporarily wire it up. And I'm going to light the motor, make sure everything's good, make sure there's no leaks. And plus I need to hear this thing roar. So, you know, I just got to do that. So once I'm satisfied that everything's good there, I'm going to blow this all apart, paint the frame, put it all back together, and have a rolling chassis. And then I'm going to finish up the bodywork, paint it, do the interior, figure out the seats, a lot of stuff, but it's fun. So I hope you guys continue to join me on this journey of my 53 Chevy pickup. And again, I really appreciate your subscriptions, the likes, the shares, and the comments. I try and answer them, and a lot of good information. I thank you guys for that. Hey, be safe in the shop. Take care. And I'll see you next time at Idaho Fabricator.